Hello, my name is Brad Wright, and I am a pastor at Grace Presbyterian Church. And I just wanted to take a couple moments to give you some announcements and tell you some things that are going on at Grace Presbyterian Church. You know, this is a season of Lent, and we're making our way toward Easter. And one of the books that I've been reading is by Eugene Peterson, and the title of the book is Practice Resurrection. He says this: the resurrection of Jesus establishes the conditions in which we live and mature in the Christian life and carry on this conversation. Jesus alive and present. A lively sense of Jesus' resurrection, which took place without any help or comment from us, keeps us from attempting to take charge of our own development and growth. Frequent meditation on Jesus' resurrection, the huge mystery of it, the unprecedented energies flowing from it, prevents us from reducing the language of our conversation to what we can define or control. And then he goes on to talk about practicing resurrection. You know, if I was going to tell you something to consider as we make our way toward Easter, it would be this idea of a regular reflection on the power of the resurrection, to practice resurrection, to live into the hope of what God has for us in Jesus Christ. And the only way we can do that is to be part of a fellowship of people who are centered on the gospel, who are centered on the person and work of Jesus Christ. And so in this season, Easter's only a couple weeks away, as we make our way toward Easter, I want to tell you about some things we're doing as a community to practice resurrection, to live into the reality of God's love for us. One thing is, starting this Sunday, we have missions focus. And Jaime Jimenez is going to be preaching for us, and he'll be sharing with us during the Adult Christian Education Hour about Neapolis, a network of people who are working to encourage the Hispanic church in South America and even here in North America. And so he'll be with us on March 26th. And then April 2nd, we're going to have David Stoddard and Joe Cogden, two of our partners who are around the world and are going to be sharing with us about their work on April 2nd. And so for 2 weeks, we're going to be thinking about the mission of God making his way forward and our partnership with it. And then we reach Holy Week. And some things for you to know about Holy Week. One is that we're going to have a Good Friday service. And so that'll be kind of a somber service. We'll be reflecting on the crucifixion. And we call it Good Friday because Jesus, in that moment, when he dies on the cross and he says it's finished, accomplishes all of the promises in that single moment that God has made from the scriptures, from the book of Genesis onward, the fulfillment of God saying, I am going to make all things new. I'm going to crush the head of death. I'm going to bring in resurrection. I'm going to bring in my new kingdom. And my son's going to accomplish this. And so we celebrate Good Friday with this service. It'll be at 6 p.m. on Friday, on April 7th. And then on Saturday, April 8th, we'll have our annual Easter egg hunt. And this is always a really great celebration. We'll have an Easter egg hunt that starts promptly at 10:15 a.m. We will have yummy food that will be there, and we'll have coffee. There'll be balloon art and a bounce house. It's a great time. This is a really good event for you to think about inviting friends to, or neighbors, or friends of your kids to come to, because it's just a great celebration. It'll be right outside. Hopefully the weather will be great. I'm praying that it is, but it's a sweet time of celebration. We'll have food, things to do. Starts at 10 a.m. I hope that you can join us. And then on Easter Sunday, April 9th, we will have two worship services. We'll have a 9 o'clock service and a 10:30 service. Both services will be exactly the same. It's just meant, we're having two services to hopefully accommodate all those who want to worship Jesus at Grace Presbyterian Church on Easter morning. We've had some Sundays in the past several months where we've gotten close to capacity in our parking lot, and hopefully with these two services, everyone who wants to come can come. We will have an overflow room if that's needed, but hopefully, make plans now. Think about which of those two services you're going to come to, 9 a.m. or 10:30. Of course, you're welcome to whichever works for you. I also want to tell you about some updates that are going on our campus. So, we have this building, and it's our home, and we have to take care of it. And so just an update on some things that we're doing. One is we're having new lighting installed on March 27th. I don't know if you've noticed, but in the front of the sanctuary, the lights that shine on the stage, some of them have gone out. We've had them looked at. It seems like they're beyond repair, so we're getting a new lighting system. The hope is that it will be very similar to what we currently have. The lights are a little different, but they're up on the ceiling, so they won't mess with our aesthetic. But those will be going in. You might notice all of a sudden the stage is brighter. Well, it's because our lights are working. Secondly, we're having some major parking lot renovations done. We just haven't done a lot of service on our parking lot. So if you happen to show up at Grace during the week and parts of the parking lot are blocked off, that's not for a kickball tournament or anything. We're blocking it off because they're doing work and we need to let it dry or do what it needs to do. So hopefully the parking lot will look wonderful for Easter Sunday. We also have now in our sanctuary hearing assisted devices. Now, some of you won't need that, that's great. But we have 4 units in the church and you can check them out at the welcome desk and they're very simple to use. But this is something else that we have now. If you have AirPods and you have an iPhone or you have another device and you've got headphones, you can actually download an app. All the information will be there on the welcome desk, but you can download an app and you can listen to everything that's happening in the worship service in real time. So I tested it last week. If you're wondering why I had AirPods on while Kyle was preaching, that's why, because I was checking that out to make sure it worked okay. It does. It's very simple, and you can hear really well. So if you're struggling hearing, maybe positioned in the sanctuary, or for whatever reason, you can use that app if you're on our Wi-Fi, and you can listen to the service right there. It's really helpful. So there's more information at the welcome desk if you want to know about that, or you can grab me or one of the ushers. And then lastly, we talked about this in our congregational meeting in January, actually 2 things. The first is that we are exploring the feasibility of developing our outdoor space. We have a campus, Grace Presbyterian Church. That campus is there to give all of us access points to the community of faith in Jesus Christ. So for our members and for our regular attenders, it's a regular space, a sacred space for worship, but it's also meant to be a place, and we're hoping more so with this outdoor campus project team, to be able to develop the outdoor space where there's outdoor areas where you can spend time together as well. So where are we in the project? We've met as a team. The information will be on the website soon about who all is on the team if you don't know, and you can ask any of them. But our hope is for us to meet and explore the feasibility of the project, the financial feasibility of it, the actual structures, whatever we're trying to do. We're trying to get our heads around that. And we have a very gifted architect we're excited to work with. We may even have pictures for you by Easter Sunday. That's the goal. If it's not then, it'll be sometime in April. But you'll be able to see, okay, this is kind of what we're hoping to be able to do. So the Outdoor Campus Project team, we've met. We should have more information for you soon, but just be praying for that. Pray that God would pave a way for us, if that's his will, for us to have this project go forward to develop the outdoor space, that we would be able to do that, and just stay tuned for details. And then the other thing we discussed in our congregational meeting, and that we're going to be doing, the session has voted and discussed this, is that we're going to be adding screens. Now, for some of you, that's great. You're going to think that's a very natural, good thing for us to do. Others of you, as soon as you hear me say we're getting screens, your blood pressure might go up a little bit. And I want you to know, I understand. It's different. We've never had screens like this at Grace before. So different isn't always exciting. I get that. But I want you to know that our goal, the session's goal in doing this, is to only enhance our worship service, to enhance our expression of worship each and every Sunday. So just some things for you to think about. And I talked with other pastors who have screens in our presbytery, in our denomination, benefits they experienced by having screens. I just want to tell you about a couple of them. One of them, and they all said this, was that it actually allows people to look up during worship. So while we're singing, you can look up. We will still print bulletins every single week, but you can look up also. For those who struggle to read the bulletins, we've been told from other churches that it's actually much easier to read on the screens, and so that's been an enhancement to their worship service. If you're new to an order of worship like we have at Grace Presbyterian Church, sometimes you can get lost in the bulletin. I understand that. But with the screens, it actually is another way for you to sort of catch up to where we are. So it allows that. We'll also use the screens for when you're walking into the sanctuary. There might be some announcements up there, or if there's something that we need to let you see, that'll be a way for us to show it. But just understand, the screens are something that we are adding to enhance our worship service, not to take anything away. And we won't be using them to do things that might distract from our time together. So here's what I want to encourage you to do. If you're excited about the screens, great. Please pray it goes smoothly. If you're not excited about the screens, I just want to ask you to wait until you see them before you say anything. Okay, so go through a week of worship, look at it, and then if you want to talk to me or a member of the session, you are welcome to do that. We welcome that. Okay. As we end our time, I just want to read sort of the last part of this quote that I started in the beginning of this video from Eugene Peterson as we think about practicing resurrection together. He says this: "Practice resurrection, a phrase I got from Wendell Berry, strikes just the right note. We live our lives in the practice of what we do not originate and cannot anticipate. When we practice resurrection, we continuously enter into what is more than we are. When we practice resurrection, we keep company with Jesus, alive and present. Who knows where we are going better than we do? He does, which is always from glory unto glory." You know, my prayer for you as we approach Easter is that we practice resurrection. We remember the glory that God has for us in his son, Jesus, and that we follow him together. And so God bless you, and I hope to see you soon.